balance, like it's like 30%, 30%, 20%, 20%. That means it's a good question. It's the ones where you have like 98%. They're just too easy. But there are a few 98%ers in there. Just be careful, and this is a big one, okay? So the 4 multiple choice questions will appear on your phone. If you can get panicky and you might know the question. You might know it. You might know the answer. I know it. And you're waiting for it to come on, because the faster you answer, the more points you get. There's 100 points maximum for each question. So 100 points for each question. As the time ticks down, you lose more and more points. So, if you answer with so you get 20 seconds. If you answer with 5 seconds to go, you'll only get like 10 points. So you're probably going to be looking at it and you're going to go, oh yeah, no bother. And you'll press the wrong one. So fat fingers is what we call it in the quiz world. Fat fingers are the big one. Okay. So if you click the wrong one, you lose the points. There's no way of changing your answer. The minute you press it, that's it. It's locked and loaded. You can't change your mind. So, that's the way it is. So tonight is for Liverpool fans all over the place. It's just a Saturday night. Obviously, the league is coming back very, very soon, which was fantastic news. It should be fantastic news very, very soon. Unfortunately, we won't be able to celebrate. Well, if we win the league, I have to say that we won't be able to celebrate, I suppose, the way we wanted to. But look, it's still hopefully going to be number 19. So, guys, I'll tell you what. I think we should have most people in now. I'm just going to check here, guys, and just make sure that I've got all answers done. I think we should have everyone in by now. As I said, I'd hoped that we might have sold a few more tickets, but look, it doesn't matter. It's all about celebrating and enjoying everything to do with Liverpool tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a man who, I'll be honest, so I'm 30. What am I? 38, 39 this year. I'm being Irish. I'm being a Liverpool fan. This man was probably, he would have been one of my favorites, of all time. So I'm going to bring in John. Hello, John. How are you?
Fine. That's nice. Thank you.
How's it looks like there's nice weather over there, John.
You know what? I played golf today, and it was all right. No rain, a lot of wind. It's been bad, but it's not a bad night, to be fair. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Okay. But where are you at the moment? How are you finding lockdown?
It is what it is. Get on with it. Faithful San Miguel. A few pints on a Saturday night, haven't you?
Yeah. I've got this Bulmer's Berry. It was cheap. It was an Aldi. It was $1.99. So
£1.50 for a pint and a half of San Miguel.
Listen, John. Thanks for joining us. I suppose we've got a few questions from people there, but I suppose with the news that the league is obviously coming back in a few weeks. And the players are back training. How do you think the players are feeling right now?
You just want to get on with it. It's done my head in, to be quite honest. The negativity. Hey, look, it is what it is. It's horrible what's happened to families, friends, and people that's died. But we have to try and move on as best we can. But what annoys me regarding the sporting world, which means a lot to us, it keeps us going in life. Football, it is what it is. Without football, it's really hard, So all the so-called pundits, coming out, we've all got our feelings, we've all got our ideas, and but the negative has really done my brains in. Really done my brains, and most of it coming from ex-Man United players, ex-Man players, some Everton, not about any Everton players, but players who for some reason don't want Liverpool to win the league. Come on, hey, it is what it is. Liverpool have made a mockery of the league. they've made a mockery of the league. And most people say, you want the league scrapped, you've got to move on. And from day one, in the garden, I've done in Sky. Look, next year, it's not set in stone that next year has to start first week in August. You know, it could be first week September, October, November, December. You have to finish what you start. 3/4 of the way. You just can't say no. You stop that. And some leagues have, and I disagree. You know, it has to finish, and then the next season starts accordingly. And you take that around when you can, when everyone's safe, and it's safe to do so. But I'm delighted that the FA and the powers that be, common sense, and they're going to finish the league. And even if they don't, and God forbid something was to happen that stopped the league, you know, Liverpool will get it, you know, on you know, was it points per game type of thing. You know, so we will get what we've deserved after a long wait, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing. You know, Andy Hinchcliffe on Monday. Sorry, what day was it? What Friday, saying about, you know, the league should be scrapped or something. You know, but he wanted it scrapped. I just, honest to God, it's done fun. It's done fun, and he then says, you know, it's not because I'm an ex-Man City player. Everton player. Come on, he went on to say, I'm sorry about going on, but I want you to counsel. Yeah. So he went on to say, well, what about Aston Villa? You know, they've got a game in hand. Well, play the fucking game 2 days, 2 games after the first game that we play, and then everyone's free to play points per game. Oh God, it's drove me nuts. It really has. Anyway, that's me. That's me.
That's it. That's exactly the answer we were looking for. 2 points. I suppose. I just have. So I have questions shown here, but I've just got a couple more. So we've seen. So the football is going to be back behind closed doors now. And I know, you know, you probably have never played behind closed doors, but what's that going to be like for the players having no fans there? You know, and the importance of Anfield on a game night, and you know you've got the crowd behind you. Do you think it's going to affect the players in any way having no crowd there?
You don't, you know, it's hard. It will be hard, but the thing is, when you've got the crowd behind, it does give you. You know, I played many games behind closed doors against the first and then game, and it is the same. It is the same because the crowd just gives you that little bit of an edge, maybe. But it is what it is, and it's the best. It's the best that we can get at the moment, you know, and we have to just, you know, suffer it, to be quite honest. And the players have to suffer it because it is going to be strange, but the cream will rise to the top. It doesn't matter. And the cream is Liverpool Football Club. You know,
Yes, indeed.
Put up the world, Super Cup, the lot, you know, you're the cream. And 11v11 with the crowd, without the crowd. I don't think Liverpool, you know, with the likes of Klopp, and the players and the mentality, I think it doesn't matter. But the thing is, it's better for everyone, obviously, if the crowd's there. You know, that's what football is all about. Without the crowd, it's not what it is. We've just got to get on with it until it's safe for everyone to get back into the stadium and give the team the vocals that they deserve and we want to give.
Perfect, brilliant. And the team now, people are calling it, you know, the greatest ever Liverpool team. Some people would disagree, others would say it is. But how do you think this team compares to the great Liverpool team of the 80s?
You know, I've been asked that a lot. You know, like our team, we had loads of great teams in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, fantastic. Wow. How can you compare one to the other? But I get a lot of questions about, you know, how would this team fare against your team in the late 80s? These were brilliant. You know, these are brilliant. I went, wow, that's tough. Because we could defend. These lads can defend now better than we've been able to defend. we can attack. We had, bingo for me. All could score goals, and then I obviously being leading striker right at the moment. These have got the freedom, which was bang, 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 and it's hard. But I always say there'll probably be a draw 2-2, and the reason behind that is because we're all about 60 years of age now. So
yeah, they wouldn't be able to take a tackle either. But anyway. What I'm going to do, I've got a few questions here. So people are sending in their questions at the moment. So just bear with me for 1 second now while I flick through these. They just kind of flick past me. So this one here comes up from Andrew Quinn. Question for Aldo: if you could choose any player to have as a teammate that you've never had before, who would it be, past or present? Gerrard. Oh, straight up.
The best player I think I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
I watched him, I was lucky enough when I left Tranmere, walked out of football, under for every game home and away. I'm watching that. Wow. What you've seen every game home and away. Oh, dear me. Honestly, in my opinion, one of the greatest footballers ever to live on the planet. He was just that good.
Perfect, brilliant. And part 2 here from Andrew Griffin is: what's your favourite Liverpool game you've played in, and what's your favourite Liverpool LFC game you've watched?
It's the watching ones first, because lucky the fact that I used to go all the home games and travel away on the trains. It was a bit mad in them days. St Etienne was unbelievable. Bruges, for that, people forget about the Bruges game, the final of the UEFA Cup. Down off, that's when 3-2, and we won Bruges 1-1 over there. So that was an amazing game. And I've seen all the Dortmund game. I've seen the Chelsea game. I've seen them all the Barcelona game. That was just something wrong. That into Roy Rovers and we all seen it. We all win. And Istanbul, I can't separate them two. If I had to separate them two, it would have to be Istanbul was the 5.5, dead and buried. We go through 4 or 5, and we end up with the trophy. So them two were amazing. I think Istanbul.
Yeah, John, sorry, no, you're actually breaking up there, I think, at the moment on my headphones, so I think it might be the same. So you might just have to come a bit closer, possibly. I think it may be, it's every time you go back to kind of go, it kind of cuts off. But I'm just, okay, so.
Try
it again.
Any better?
Yeah, it seems to be better. So look, I'm just going to.
That was Istanbul in the end. I got to Istanbul in the end. The boss running close, very close.
Right, who would win in a fight, Aldridge or Rush?
We'd never fight. We couldn't fight. We're good mates, actually. We're really good friends. To be fair, all teammates. I'm joking. Everyone, it's nice. My motto is it's nice to be nice, and you don't fall out with anyone unless you do something to you, then you batter them. But there you go. No, we're good mates, and he was an unbelievable goal scorer. He was a fantastic goal scorer. Okay, when he came back, he wasn't quite up to the standard of what he was before he went to Juventus for whatever reason, but he was still a very, very, very good striker. But before he went to Juventus, wow, unbelievable. Him and Kenny Dalglish, wow.
Yeah. Okay, so Barry Buckley here says, who's the best player you've ever played with?
I've loads of time. John Barnes. Barnes, I've seen him. In them days, I think you push it forward. And I think Ray Houghton's coming after me, isn't he? Ray will say the same. I'm pretty sure. If we had so much football on the television in them days as we do now, Barnsley would have been right up there as, possibly the best player in the world, in my opinion, at the time. He's just that good. He was unmarkable.
Okay, I've one here from Michael O'Connor. So it says, in April 1988, Liverpool had just trashed Forest 5-0, in which Ray scored 1 and John, you scored 2. The late great Tom Finney famously remarked, "It was the finest exhibition I've ever seen. I've played and watched the game." Would you agree? If not, what is the finest exhibition you've played in or watched? I suppose that's like the other one. I suppose. Well, the watching one, I suppose you've answered that.
No, it's a good question. Tom Finney, I met him once. A lovely man. And my dad loved football. Dad loved Charlton and Beck as footballers. I love Finney, Stanley Matthews. I met him, he's a lovely fella, and for him to come out that night on Match of the Day and say it, I was made up, because it was a fantastic performance. And to put it into perspective, Forest were like Man City are to us now.
Yeah,
closest rivals, and we absolutely tore them apart. That was a Wednesday. On the Sunday before that, I'll have to tell you a story. On the Sunday before that, we all went down to London to play the year which Barnsley got. And we had like 4 players, the PFA team of the year. We had that from Bollinger all night. Every one of us Liverpool players got back on a Monday, trained Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday we put that performance. So, like
this is more of a current question. Rory Cannon wants to know, what do you make of the Timo Werner move? Then he's more likely to head to Chelsea rather than Liverpool. And who would you have dropped? This is a good question. I had a discussion with this with my son last week. Who would he have dropped to fit Timo Werner into the team?
Well, first and foremost, I'd loved him to come to us. I think he would have been brilliant. And to be fair, with what's happened in the world the last few years, and I don't understand what's going to happen with the transfer policies and the transfer payments. It's above my head a little bit at the moment. But I still think, for 50 million, he was a snip. I think the world will change and go forwards. Maybe other people know different to me. We've got players there that we're going to move on. I just think he would have been magnificent. But I do trust Klopp. I always trust Jurgen big time. So yeah, I'm a little bit gutted that he's gone. What was the other question linked to it?
It was who would you have dropped? Who would you have dropped to fit him into the team?
I know. Hey, this day and age, it's a squad game. It's a squad. You've always got to back up. And Divock Origi, who's a lovely lad, and he's backed us up. He's a decent player. He's great when he comes off the bench. When he starts a game, you want a little bit more from him. He's still relatively young where strikers are concerned. Kiri, I really like. Minamino, I hope he comes good. I just think this Werner is ready-made to go in and to relieve our front three, or would have been to relieve our front three top players, to give him a little bit of a rest. Something happens, he goes in, and to consolidate where we are at the moment and take us to a different level maybe. But Jurgen Klopp must see something else out there. I just hope, and the Americans have done brilliant for us, and I'm right behind them. I just hope it's not a money thing. I just really hope it's not a money thing, because the club's done financially really, really well. But see what Jurgen does in the coming couple of months.
Okay, perfect. There's loads after coming in, but I'm gonna just kind of get through as many as I can if possible. So Ian Armstrong wants to know, what was your favourite goal for Liverpool you scored? That's from the Southside Irish Reds.
I scored 63 in 104 games.
Don't I'd say that, because that's a question later on. Jesus, don't be saying that.
See, I love the coach. People don't realise when I was a kid how much I went my life. It was life. You know, your girlfriend and your wife and all that. And I went to the clubs, but Liverpool Football Club. I created the football club when I was there. Up until I started playing football and moved on, and I still did, obviously. So everyone scored meant an awful lot, But the biggest goals was and I've answered this question many times. It was the semi-final replay of Hillsborough. It was the game that we had to win. More so than the final. Build up to that game, it was horrible. The thought of losing that game after what happened finishing live, and the families, the thought of losing was so to win and me scoring 2 goals, that was massive, absolutely massive. So it had to be the game. And
okay, I'm going to give one more question, because it's cracking on. We need to crack on with the quiz, and it's just going to breaking up. So, just have this one from Simon Mooney. What was your memories of being in the tram with the "You'll Never Walk Alone" Irish Reds in St James's Street besides Guinness's? Do you remember that?
No. What year was that?
I have the clue. I'd say it was a session for Simon and all the lads anyway, I'd say. So I don't know. You can say you don't remember. It's fine. Don't worry. You won't hurt their feelings.
What was it again? Say it again.
So he says, what was all those memories of being in the tram with the YNWA Irish Reds in James's Street? So this is in Dublin, besides Guinness's. So the tram, I'm from Cork, so I presume that's Dublin, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking about Liverpool. Yeah, I know, I remember, yeah. One times, yeah.
The less said, the better, I'd say. And the final one I'm going to ask you here is: so if you were the manager of Liverpool right now, who would you sign?
Tino Wem. No, I don't know. I don't know. We've won everything in sight. We've got the squad, but my motto is never to sit on your laurels. To keep on building on what you've got, and what Jurgen's done is built it so high, and keep on trying, looking for the best, and keeping the other teams apart from us. That's only what I think. Mbappe would be special, but I think that's just not going to happen, because certain things wouldn't make up, and it wouldn't be fair on the other players if he comes in and then his wages. It just doesn't add up. The Mbappe one, but he will be the one. He will be the one. Then it would have been Werner. But other than that, I just trust Jurgen. Just trust the manager, because he's done it before when we expected players to come. Goats never came, and then we got better than them, and other players come, and we ended up getting better than them. So maybe he's got a trick up his sleeve. We'll wait and see.
Mr. John, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll be celebrating on the piss soon enough.
Whatever happens, it's coming on, by the way, and that's
brilliant. Well, cheers to you. Cheers, Aldo. Cheers, buddy.
Don't you?
Right, I'm going to take you out. That's there you go. Thanks very much to Aldo there. Yeah, again, you could some of it was breaking up, but yeah, Dan, we are at the halfway point. We're at the halfway point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a man who put the good ball in the English net. I know there's some people from the UK here playing tonight, but you know, as Irish people, we adopted Ray. He's ours. He scored for us against Italy in '94, which is one of those things that will just stay in your mind forever. I'd like to welcome in Ray Houghton. Hello, Ray.
How are you? You all right?
Can you hear me, Ray?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. I was just brilliant. I suppose I was just talking there. USA '94, scoring against Italy. You know, and I've never spoken to you, and I've never been at one of the shows where you've been. Just Ray, could you still do a cartwheel like that?
With the roly-poly. In Birmingham, where I was living at the time, it was actually called a gamble, which I'd never heard of before. And I've got to be honest with you, after the game, when the press were questioning me about the match and the goal, and they said, "Why did you do your celebration, your forward roll?" And I didn't know I'd done it, because I was never one for that. You know, I was just put my hand up. Not that I scored that often, but I just put my hand up, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But they kept going on. He said, "Why did you do the roly poly?" And I'm saying, "No, you've got the wrong fella. That's not me. I don't celebrate like that." And it only dawned on me about after 10 minutes that I'd done this stupid roly poly, which people keep asking me about, and I haven't got a good answer. I've got to be honest with you. I don't know why I done it. It was completely out of character. The only thing I can suggest was going into the World Cup in '94. I wasn't really number one. Jason McAteer had sort of, got yourself into a very good position to be on the right-hand side of the midfield. But just in the build-up, I was training really hard. We had a couple of practice games over there. I'd done very well. And Kevin Moran said to me that a couple of nights before the game, he said, "I think you're going to get the starting position." I said, "I don't think so." And he said, No. He said, "You've done well enough. I think you're going to get in." So maybe it was the fact that I didn't think I was going to get in, then getting the nod to start, and then obviously scoring the goal was the all-important part.
Brilliant. Well, I can tell you, thank you very much for that, because it's etched in Irish people's memories all over. I was only a young fella, but I think I tried to do, if we were playing football in the park, I tried to do the roly poly just like that for about 15 years, Ray. I still tried it, But anyway, look, so welcome along, and thanks very much for joining us tonight. What I have is I've got some. So we're live with a couple. We were doing a Liverpool quiz at the moment, and I've got a couple of questions that are coming in from some of the people who've joined us. So I have one here which came in, and some of them are good questions. Others are going to be ones, that are not going to be very good, but I won't say that. But I have one from Declan Moore, and it came in last week. Do you think Liverpool players were picked enough by their national team managers, particularly England, through the 70s and 80s? So this one came in from Declan Moore on Facebook during the week.
Well, one of the problems I think that the Liverpool players had was the style of football that they played. There wasn't a lot of international teams like Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, who played that way. You get the ball down and try to pass through the thirds. So that was certainly a problem. But if you look back at the team that I played in '87, '88, Stevie Nicol played for Scotland. Big Alan Hansen's a mystery how he didn't get more caps than he did. I think he got under 30 caps, Al. I mean, he should have been nearer 100, because when you look at the best centre halves you've ever seen, he'd be up there. Big Al's got to be up there. He was absolutely outstanding. Steve McMahon played for England. Ronnie played for Republic. I did. Then you had John Barnes with England. You had Peter Beardsley with England. So no, I mean, if you looked at the teams, a lot of the players were currently in the international setup, and that was just down to the fact that when you look back at the Liverpool teams in the 70s and 80s, they were so dominant. They were the best side around, and history will show you that. You just have to look at the stats, look at the trophies that they won. It was an absolutely phenomenal time to be around Liverpool and the achievements that they had.
Okay. I have one here from Jarlath Killelay. He said, have you ever had to pay for a pint in Ireland since putting the ball in the back of the English net?
I've got to be honest with you. I don't get recognised. You know, the older you get, obviously, the youngsters don't know who you are. They haven't got a clue who you really are. But in Ireland, it's the one place, I've got to be honest with you, where that isn't the case. You know, it's as if they pass it down from generation to generation. So the granddads tell the dads who still remember you, and then the dads tell the children. So whenever I go to an event in Ireland, you know, and then maybe it's giving an awards ceremony, you know, the kids will come up and they'll say, "Oh, we Googled you, or we watched YouTube and seen you on there." And my stock answer is, was it in colour or was it in black and white? You know, how long ago did you have to go back? So it's great. The recognition we still get in Ireland is phenomenal, and that would be the same for all the Irish players and the ones that have got Liverpool connections, Manchester United connections, whatever the case may be. You know, whenever we go back to Dublin or to Ireland in general, wherever it may be, you always get a great welcome. You know, they do appreciate the work that you put in over the years. That's for sure. And as far as buying a pint, yes, you still have to buy one occasionally. It doesn't happen that often, I've got to be honest with you.
If you do the roly-poly in the pub, everyone will know who you are. Don't worry about that.
I've got to be honest with you. I've been asked to do that. Now, after about my 10th Guinness, I might do it. But before that, there's absolutely no chance.
Right. So Barry Buckley, and this is an interesting one. I think I've heard a story to this, actually. I watched a documentary on Jack Charlton recently. And there's a question here. So why did you choose Ireland over Scotland?
I see. I get asked this question so many times, and it's easy. Scotland never asked me. There you go. It's in a nutshell. You know, I went to trials with Scotland when I was 18, and I was at West Ham at the time. And the manager of Scotland was a certain Andy Roxburgh, who went on to be national manager. And strangely enough, Andy was so anti anyone that came from English clubs. You know, so. There was, I can remember, there was a lad from Millwall, myself at West Ham, and I think there was 3 lads from Middlesbrough. So when we were having a 5-a-side competition, Andy Roxburgh said, "Right, you Anglos," that's what he says to you Anglos over there, and form a team, which, you know, I took a bit of umbrage to. So anyway, it didn't work out for me. Scotland never came back and asked. Jack Charlton, having watched John Aldridge play at Aston Villa for Oxford, asked John, and then found out about my connections with my dad born in Donegal, and asked me to come along. And I remember being at Anfield, and Andy Roxburgh come to watch his train. Sorry, we were at Melwood. So he came down to watch his train, and he sat there, and I'm sitting next to him, and he said to me, "You should have played for us." And I turned around and I said, "Well, if you want to know the truth, Andy," I says, "when I came up for a trial when I was 18, you talked so badly to me, I didn't really want to play for you." And he sat back a bit and thought, "What's he saying here?" And I told him in certain terms. I said, the way you treated us was absolutely despicable. I said, so I made the right choice going to play for Ireland. And I've got to be honest with you, it worked out so well for me. You know, when I look at what happened after that, going to the Euros in '88, joining Liverpool in '87, there's no doubt playing for Ireland certainly helped that.
Brilliant. Okay, and so Aldo was on earlier on, and this would have been, he was asked this question as well. So it's, who is your favourite player to play alongside with at Liverpool?
Oh, yeah, but see, this is different because this is different to who's the best player.
Yes, who's your favourite player? Yes,
who's your favourite player? Well, obviously, John and Aldridge and I had a great rapport from our times at Oxford and at Liverpool and the Republic of Ireland as well. So John and I, you know, we've known each other since 1985, you know, so we've known each other a long time, and, you know, we've been good friends along that way. So obviously Aldo, and he was a dream for someone like myself, because John was very much, he simplified his game, got it down, he played it wide and he got into the box, and then he wanted the crosses. That happened with Ireland, that happened with Oxford, and it certainly happened with Liverpool. If you look at his goal scoring record at Liverpool, it's absolutely phenomenal. But if you look at where he got his goals, John wasn't shooting from 25 yards, 30 yards. He was inside the box. That's where he came alive. That's where he wanted to make his runs into, and you had to deliver the balls in there for him. So certainly him. But I've also got to say, you need a rapport with your fullback. When you play as a winger, really you need your fullback to be the one that helps you out, because he's got to supply you with the ball, and you've got to work in tandem. You need a partnership. I used to say the partnerships were your right back and your right midfielder, your left same in your left side, left back, midfielder, your two centre halves, your two central midfielders, and your two strikers. They were the partnerships that you had. So I had a great understanding with Stevie Nicol, the bumper. Stevie was obviously hugely talented, very funny fella, and I got on famously with him. And him and I worked really well. I knew instinctively where he was going to be, and I think it was the same vice versa. So that partnership for me was the best one, because he and I knew each other's game inside out. So I love playing with Nicol. I thought he was a sensational, one of the best defenders and players I'd played alongside. He was always top class.
And he was asked to play for Scotland. I've one here from Thomas Kane, and he just says, do you visit Donegal?
Yeah. I mean, there's two places I go back to when I go to Donegal. Was Buncrana, where my father was born. I was fortunate enough in 1989 to go back, and I got an award, if you like, and it was like I was taken around in a beautiful old car all around Buncrana, and then there was a big fete that was on, and all the dignitaries were there, and I had to go up and speak. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was I took my dad back, who hadn't been back for a long time, and he went round and he's seen a lot of old familiar places and people who he hadn't seen for a number of years. And it wasn't long after that he passed away. But that would have been one of his last memories of going back to where he grew up and seeing so many sights that he hadn't seen for a long time. And obviously family and friends who lived there. And the other place I go to is Letterkenny. I've got family who live in Letterkenny. So I go back there, and yes, I have frequented the pubs and the clubs back there quite a lot.
And I hope you're not paying for pints up there.
And I only paid for the drinks once, I think. Yeah.
Well, Thomas Kane, you can take that back to Donegal. Ray has had to pay for a pint a couple of times. I've got Robbie Walsh here. He says, if you could pick one player you've played with in your time in Liverpool, if you could pick one player who played in your time in Liverpool team to play alongside you for Ireland, who would it have been?
Yeah, my favourite player, and for free. You're often asked, is like we do a lot of events like this. Who's the best player you played with at Liverpool? And undoubtedly, for the first 3 years at Liverpool, it was John Barnes. John had absolutely everything. I'm sure you've asked John Aldo that, and Ronnie and the likes, and everything you've had on, and a lot of them would say this. I mean, Ronnie might go for soonest. I didn't play with Graham, so that's a little bit different for me. But just in my time there, John Barnes. I mean, John had absolutely everything. He was physically strong, quick across the ground. Before he got his injury, he's really sharp over 5-10 yards. Great balance. You could go off either foot. He was not only a creator of goals, but a goal scorer as well. And I think England never really got the best of him. It didn't matter what club he played for. They never really got what they should have out of him, because he was such a talented player. So I'd love to have seen him in the Green of Ireland playing alongside John. I think he would have complemented our team, and obviously on that left-hand side, having Kevin Sheedy would have had a little bit of a battle, though, who was going to get into the team, because he was also a formidable player. But Barnsley on his day was unplayable. Yeah,
Aldo said the same thing. He said, had Barnsley been around, at this day and age with every match on television and social media, he would be, regarded as the best player in the world. That's kind of what Aldo said as well.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, I would maybe disagree. It's like with Messi, but he wouldn't be far. I get what he was talking about, but yeah, Barnsley was for 3 seasons. My word, what a player! And what he used, the 2 or 3 players used to go and pick him up, which left so much room for the rest of the team. So it wasn't just what he'd done when he had the ball, but it was also what he contributed, taking the opposition away and creating space for others.
I've just got Michael Connor. He just wants to say hi. So he wants to say that he mentioned the National Football Exhibition in Waterford last August. He said you're an absolute gent, and he was so good to Ciara. We mentioned it in his speech.
Yes. So. Yeah, no, she was a lovely young lady, lovely family. And wherever I've been, and this is something that we've taken around the country in Ireland. We've been to a variety of places. And I've got to say, we've been well received wherever we've been, and people have really taken to it. It's just a great shame, obviously, the Euros aren't on this year for obvious reasons, and we have to wait till next year. But hopefully, the Republic of Ireland will qualify with the upcoming fixtures that they've got.
I have one here, and actually, this question, I think in 90, it's something that I always want to know, because look, I loved you playing for Liverpool, and obviously, I'm going to do this. Why did you join Aston Villa?
Well, to be honest, it was I went to speak to Graham Souness because my contract, I had a year left on my contract, and obviously there was quite a few new players that come in, and players talk. They're always talking about how much money, So, in relative terms, I was well down the pecking order when it came to finances at the club in comparison to others, and I mean by quite a bit. So I went in to see the manager. Graham Souness said to me, "Oh, look, you've been my most competitive player, if you like. I think I won quite a few player of the seasons that at the end of that campaign." And he kept, saying to me, "You've done brilliantly. You're this, you're that, the other." So I'm thinking, that all sounds very good, but you've got to put it into monetary terms, and what are you going to offer me? And I think he offered me £500 a week extra, which was nowhere near, and I would have been on less than half of what some of the other first team players were. And if I was playing as well as he was saying I was, and I was as influential as he thought I'd been, then why wasn't he putting me anywhere near what the other players were on? So I said to him, "Well, look, I really want you to stay, but not at that price. I needed to be closer to the other players." And I'm not saying right next to them. I was still would have been quite a few £1,000 a week away from him, but I thought I deserved more than he was offering, and he wouldn't budge. And then I said to him, "Oh, look, if that's your way, I may as well move on." I said, "I'll move back towards London," and he never stopped me. And I went away pre-season. I think we were in Italy. I got the phone call, and then that was when I came back. But I did not want to move. It was down to him. He just didn't want to give me the money that I thought I deserved. And as I go back to Mark Wright came in, Dean Saunders, I wouldn't have been on half what they were on coming into the club. And his argument was, "Well, I didn't buy you. You're not my player." And I thought that was a terrible excuse. Either he thought you were good enough or not. But that was his argument to why he didn't want to give me any more money.
Okay, yeah, it was something else there as well. That someone, it's just the same person who come in earlier on. It was about Souness. Do you think he was keen on getting rid of Kenny's squad? Well,
I think one of the things that he did, which not a lot of people talk about, is he changed the training regime. Now, Liverpool pre-season, I can tell you from experience of being at other clubs, was the easiest pre-season ever. When I was at West Ham, you had to be physically sick. You had to be physically sick before they would turn around and say pre-season, "All right, you've done enough." That's how tough it was. At Liverpool was nothing like that. It was very low key. Probably was, depending if you went away in international duty or not in the summer, it was either 10 days of pre-season or it was a week, but no more than that. And then you were back into the small-sided games. I couldn't believe how easy it was. And then Graham came in. Obviously, he'd known because he'd been there before, but he'd been at Rangers and he wanted to try and change it around. And he made the training a lot more difficult, a lot longer. And I think if you look that season, we probably had 5, 6, maybe upwards of 7 players out with Achilles problems because their body wasn't used to training at that level at that time of the year. Now, there was a good reason why, if you looked at the stats, there's a good reason why Liverpool came strong in the second half of the season is because you built your fitness up over the course of the season and through games, and you got fitter and fitter and fitter and better. When everyone else was tired by January, you were really only coming into your own as far as fitness was concerned, and that was how they done it. He wanted to change that, and obviously by doing that, he wanted to bring in different personnel. That's his right as manager to do that. But I think when he reflects on it, he tried to do it a little bit too quickly. And we lost key players. Alan Hansen was the glue that held us together in many respects. Big Al was, he knew the club inside out. Kenny had not long gone. Al's now gone. And I think it just started to break open, if you like. And I don't think, and this is all due respect to the players that come in, but I think the players that Graham brought in weren't quite what Liverpool needed at that time and really didn't take them on in the manner that Kenny and previous managers had brought in players that brought out even more in the club as far as results were concerned.
Yeah. I suppose on current things, so there was a few questions earlier on, and what do you reckon of the Timo Werner transfer? If you're up
I mean, listen, if he came, I mean, where would he fit in? That's one of the things you look at.
Yeah, that was a question. Yeah, that someone asked. So who would you drop?
Yeah, but from a personal point of view, I always think you can never have enough good players. You know, the better the players you've got, you know, if someone gets injured or ill or is out for any length of time, you've always got a like-for-like replacement. I think when you getting substandard players, it's something you're forced to use them, and then that's when you start your problems in your team. Maybe the manager's got other things that he's looking at. But with where we are at the moment, I think you've got to be cautious about the amount of money that you spend. And I mean that from the point of view that I think with everyone in the world going through what they are and the money problems that people have got, if you start throwing hundreds of millions around, I don't think it will sit well with fans. And I think you've just got to be careful about that at the moment. And I think the club have acted, apart from what happened with the furlough situations, where they just misread that and they rectified it quite quickly afterwards when they realised there was a bit of a backlash. But in general, I think the club have been brilliant recently. No stories coming out, no players doing anything daft. They've not talked about winning the title. They've not said it's right or wrong if the season finishes or not. I think they've just gone about it in the perfect way at the moment. But I think the manager deserves every right to do what he wants to do as far as team selection is concerned. He's earned that right by what he's done in his time as manager at the club, because he's been sensational.
There was a question earlier on, and it was, if you were the manager of Liverpool right now, what one player would you buy, and where would you put him in? And so
I would like to see a midfielder that gets goals. If you looked at all our midfielders, if you like, you know, like Hendo, Fabinho, you know, like James, you could go through them all. But none of them are like 10, 11, 12 goals a season midfielders. I think sometimes you've got to try and take a little bit of pressure off the front three. They're not always going to be able to do it. They're not every season. You can't expect them to do it. So you have to try and eve it out a little bit. And I think even that at my time, I think a couple of seasons I got 11 or 12. I think Steve McMahon got 8 or 9. And I think if you're getting up near that level from your midfielders, that ain't bad. But if you're only getting 2 or 3, it puts a hell of a pressure on the front three as far as that's concerned. But also what you've got to look at is the way that Liverpool play in the system. Who fits into that system? Who fits into the Liverpool work ethic? Because you're not going to bring in someone who's not going to chase back or, you know, carry the fight to the opposition. You have a look at this season. Not every game in Liverpool's been great, but they've had this wherewithal about them, this belief in each other, this work rate. You know, the bywords of Liverpool used to be was always about effort. Attitude and effort, and that's what you see with the players that you've got at the moment. So whoever came in, whoever you were looking at, that'd be one of the first attributes I'd be looking at. Can they fit in to the way that Liverpool play, which is attitude, effort? You need ability, of course, but you need them too, as well as anything. So that's the sort of players I'd be looking at. You come in and just maybe someone who could score a little bit more from midfield to take a little bit of pressure off the strikers.
Right. We're going back here. And another question that just drives Liverpool fans mad, I suppose, is why did Souness sell Steve Staunton?
That is one of the biggest mysteries. Because if you look at Steve's age, what he'd achieved at Liverpool, you know, being in the team from a very young age. He was in the Irish setup. I remember Stevie training with us in 1988 before we went to the Euros. You know, Jack brought him in to have a look at him. He was a young lad, and Stevie had everything. And I think of all the players that Graham let go, that'd be the biggest regret he would have because of his age. You know, he was still a young kid. He had so much to offer. And I have not got a clue. I mean, when you think he brought in, with all due respect, he brought in Julian Dix, Steve Staunton. I mean, it didn't add up. Julian Dix didn't have any experience that Stevie had.
It was more aggressive. It was more aggressive, maybe. I suppose, you know. Soon as
he never won titles, you know, Stevie's got that experience. you've got to remember, where he was, what he'd done. He'd won FA Cups. He played internationally. Julian Dix was still trying to get to that level.
Yeah.
He'd already got there and was younger than him. So I didn't see the sense in it at all. So for me, that was the biggest mystery from Graham Souness. And I think if you ask Graham personally, he'll tell you that was his biggest regret with Steve Staunton, because he should have kept him there because of everything that Stevie had going for him.
I just have one more here from this, and then I've just got one to finish off. So, Michael O'Connor was known as Paul McGrath, the best defender you've ever played with?
Well, him and Big Jockey. Whenever you do your best ever team that you played with, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're my two centre-halves. And listen, by the way, I played with a lot of good centre-halves. I played with Mark Lawrenson as well. Laura was a fabulous centre-back. But Big Paul was, can you imagine if he was fully fit? How good he could have been, if he didn't have them knee injuries. I've got to tell you, being with him at Villa, and obviously with Ireland, but more at Villa, because you see him on a daily basis. I mean, this fella wouldn't run. He couldn't come out onto the training pitch. He'd be in the gym on his own on a bike, and then he'd come out on a Friday and we do set plays, and he couldn't, do them properly. He'd have to walk through them because his knees wouldn't allow him. And then he would go out on the Saturday, he'd be man of the match. And you were like, how did that happen? It shouldn't happen, but it did. And he was just an absolute phenomenon. To have the career that he did, last as long as he did, with the injuries that he had. I mean, his knee, and even in '94, we went to the World Cup and he had a problem with his arm. Most Europeans wouldn't have played. They just wouldn't have played. Most people would have quit at 27, 28. He kept going, which was testament to him, and he must have had great resolve to keep going and playing when he was in the pain that he was in, because he was eating anti-inflammatory tablets like he was going out of fashion at that stage. It was crazy, some of the things he had to go through to play matches.
Brilliant. So look, just to finish up, I suppose and this is probably my own one. And I asked all earlier on as well about, when it goes back, it's going to be behind closed doors. And obviously there's going to be no crowd and no fans. Do you think, how is that going to affect the players? It's just so surreal, I suppose, is there...
It's certainly not. I mean, I think one thing I've been watching a bit of the German football behind closed doors, just because, there's nothing else. So I've been watching a bit of that. But one thing it does show, the game is nothing without fans. It really is nothing. It's pointless in many respects, isn't it? So it is something that we're going to have to put up with for hopefully a short period of time. It's not ideal, of course, but I think, and this is what I've said on the radio station I work on, what I've said is, let's give it a chance, because at the moment I've got no affiliation to German football at all. I know the players, but I don't really know the teams, and I don't really watch it. Whereas now, in a couple of weeks' time, when the games start again, I've got an affiliation. Yeah. I've got something that I want to watch. I've got players I want to have a look at, and I'll be more intrigued, more interested to watch it then, because of that level of interest that I've got. So I think that's going to be the difference. But let's hope it's a short time, because we need the fans back. They make the game, and the players certainly will be missing it. I just can't. I mean, I'm trying to picture in my head, and it's very difficult when Liverpool finally pick up the league title.
Yeah,
where it's going to be. But two, I mean, I got on the train to Liverpool games from London. I go on Virgin trains on a Sunday more often than not, going up to Anfield for the game. And there's fellas I meet on the Liverpool supporters I meet regular on that train who've not missed a game, home or abroad, friendlies, pre-season friendlies, every game you can imagine. They've been to every one of them. And they're going to miss the most important one for them, which is the one that will win Liverpool the title. That must be very difficult for them when you've watched it for that long and you've been to every game, and for no fault of your own that you can't get there. But hopefully we'll all watch it, and we'll all be celebrating one way or another. And it's long, long overdue.
Yeah,
it's going to be fantastic. I don't know. Will it be Everton? Do you think? Do you think that might be the we do it?
Yeah, I suppose. Look, hopefully, if Man City lose against Arsenal and we beat Everton, it's all over. That's it. Lock down the place again. We're done.
I just hope. I just hope from the Liverpool fans' point of view that they abide by the rules. And I know it's going to be difficult. Of course it is, because you want to be associated with it. You want to be near it. I get it. Listen, you've waited 30 years. You can understand the feeling from the Liverpool fans, but we don't want to do anything that's going to get us into trouble. Just like watch it as best you can and celebrate it like it's been 30 years. And listen, if you'd have told me 30 years ago Liverpool wouldn't win the title for this length of time, I would have told you the fellas with the white coats are coming to but that's how long it's been.
Listen, Ray, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate that.
Keep me up to date. Who's winning? Who's winning the quiz tonight?
I can probably have a look here now. Actually, we can take a look at the leaderboards. David Cashman. So David Cashman's our current leader. Okay, so he's got 20 out of 26 questions, right? And then the B's, more money, more problems. So there's a whole host of people playing from all over Ireland and the UK and stuff like that. So
listen. All I'd say to the lads in second and third and down the leaderboard, there's always a second half, and this is where Liverpool come on strong.
Yeah. Don't give them false hope, Ray.
You're meant to be the adjudicator.
Yeah, because you can win. Listen, Ray, thanks very much for joining us. A pleasure to talk to you.
Keep safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There you go. So, Mr. Ray Houghton giving you a bit of encouragement. If you're second and third, I was going to say the same thing. Don't worry, you can still catch up and stuff like that. So there you go. There's the leaderboard at the moment. Listen, it was fantastic to speak with Ray, and there are questions there actually that I was always interested in myself as to the 92 that time around 92 when Graham Souness kind of changed up the whole squad. I know some of them were aging and stuff like that, but Staunton was a mystery, and so it was great to. I'm a person who feels that some of the quality probably wasn't good enough. So there's your questions at the moment. David Cashman is still in first place. The B's are in second. The Mo Mane, Mo Problems are in third. And as you can see, where you are on the leaderboards at the moment. Macker in 32nd, Mono 31st. Who were we looking at? We were looking at. I think there's a Reds there, and possibly his scores might be joined. But Ginny Mac, Gin Mini, I went too fast. Kyle and Holly LFC, Hanson's Heroes, and Ballymacola in 15th. Sasha 24th, Cleverpool. Hey, I see what you did there. In 25th. I think you got Reds are here actually. Oh God, my Alexa is saying she's trouble connected to the internet. I'm hoping that my internet doesn't go down right now. If it does, don't worry. This YouTube stream will be back when it goes down. I'm having a few issues there with the internet all day, which is a disaster. And if you